Hello. The thoroughly amateur production season is officially underway. My name's Robert McKay. The channel, of course, is Whiskey for Beginners. And the question that I want to look at today is, as with all this channel, something that I wish I could have found in one place with all sorts of other information when I was starting out, not quite 2.5 years ago now. Can you always find the same whiskey everywhere? And the answer is, it depends. You are going to always be able to find Maker's Mark. It'll be a strange liquor store that doesn't have Maker's Mark. It'll be a strange liquor store that doesn't have Jack Daniel's Old Number 7. It'll be a strange liquor store that doesn't have Jim Beam White Label. Some of the really major brands will be there, no matter where you go. But beyond that, it gets hit or miss sometimes. Take Buffalo Trace bourbon. And there are various things that come from Buffalo Trace of which this is going to be true. But let's just consider the basic Buffalo Trace bourbon. There are places in the United States where you can walk in any day of the week and find Buffalo Trace on the shelf. There are other places in the United States where if you see Buffalo Trace once a year, you're doing good. In 2.5 years, as I say, not quite 2.5, of drinking whiskey, I've seen Buffalo Trace on the shelf 3 times. I bought it twice, and I can't see why it has to be so highly allocated. It's good bourbon, but that's all it is. And yet, it's so highly allocated that there are a lot of places in the country you can't find it. There are distilleries that are still small. They're still expanding due to the 3-tier system that we have. Excuse me. I love allergies, and I love the way they crop up after I'm recording. There are distilleries that are smaller, and because of the 3-tier system that the law requires in the United States, they can't just go to a liquor store and say, hey, would you like to carry our product? They have to line up an agreement with a distributor who then lines up agreements with liquor stores. And so it can take a while, even as the distillery is expanding, for the distribution to expand. Some will be just within their state. Some will be within a several state region. And then there, of course, there are some that have national distribution, some who are working towards it. And so you're going to find places that have that whiskey, and you're going to find places that don't. Sometimes even large distilleries like Balcones Distilling, which I'm not even sure what craft distillery means. Apparently it just means not big. But Balcones Distilling, which doesn't really qualify for that craft designation anymore, especially not after Diageo bought it last year, their stuff is in some places and not in others. Then there are store brands. I like Bluff Springs bourbon. I think it's better than Buffalo Trace, and I first tried it as an alternative to Buffalo Trace. But it turns out it's a Total Wine store brand. And so you don't find it in other liquor stores. You have to go to Total Wine. Well, you may not have Total Wine in your state. There are places that have what they call ABC states, because the Alcoholic Beverage Control outfit, the government, runs all liquor sales in your state. And there are good and bad sides to that. Personally, I prefer free enterprise, even if the price does go up a bit more. I don't like the government controlling everything. It controls enough of our lives already. But you get an alcoholic beverage control state, an ABC state, it's not going to have Bluff Springs because that's a Total Wine store brand, and the government, not Total Wine, is selling the liquor. And so there are variations. Some things you can find everywhere, some things you can find here but not there. And so as you get involved in whiskey, you're going to find people raving about this brand of whiskey. Well, you might not be able to find it where you are. You might find something that you love to high heaven, and it turns out nobody else can find it because it's only right there. These things happen. That's just the nature of the liquor business in the United States. And so, let me do some things here on my keyboard, because I record these on my laptop's webcam. If you can't tell that the quality is not professional, then I just feel sorry for you. But I've found a way to end these videos that doesn't look just totally stupid. I hold up an imaginary glass. My Glencairns are right over here, but I hold up an imaginary glass and I say something in whatever language. In this case, here's mud in your eye.